Hello! I thought since we're all cloistered inside because of responsible physical distancing, what better time than to start a YouTube channel and learn about my culture? As you can tell, I am Asian, Chinese American to be specific. I really love cooking. I really love baking. I was a baking instructor back in college, but I've never been good at my own culture's cuisine. When I was growing up, my parents were pretty garbage at cooking. What better way to start by taking a look at the oldest Chinese cookbook that was published in English? This would be part one in a series, hopefully finding recipes that I want to try out in this cookbook. The cookbook that I'll be looking at, and I'll also link it in the description, it's literally called The Chinese Cookbook. Like, the author's name is Xiao Chen. Don't know what the tonal pronunciation is of this name because obviously it's Romanized or whatever it's called. I don't know anything about the author besides the fact that they were a Chinese immigrant, which literally I was Googling this person's name and I couldn't find anything except for The Chinese Cookbook. I want to contemplate this. I'm assuming where Xiao Chen came from was the first wave during the gold rush in California. And it was mainly like trade merchants. Like, whoa, we heard there's gold here, so let's come over. I can assume that this person's from Guangzhou, like from that area, which is more southern China. I am not, like, heritage-wise from that area. I know that regionally the cuisines differ, and obviously everyone knows that, like, Sichuan cuisine is very, very different from Cantonese cuisine. This Chinese cookbook, I'm guessing, is going to be more Cantonese style, and even though that's not my true ethnic background, it'll still be good to, like, learn the basics. Hats off to, like, the confidence of, like, this quote. A person who has tasted Chinese food realizes that it is the most palatable and delicious cooking he ever ate. This book is not meant only for the housewife, but also for the restaurateur. In fact, it is written in such clear, simple form that anyone, by following its rules, can prepare dishes of rare delicacy and flavor. This is my purpose in writing the book. I wish to make good, tempting, and wholesome cooking possible for all. Xiao Chen, New York, May 18th, 1917. Right off the gate, just like this, I already know that this is a step above the average cookbook. We just went through the preface, and then history of Chinese cooking, general laws of Chinese cooking, and marketing. It actually means, like, the places that you can go to get the ingredients, but at first I was like, holy shit, already an influencer like Xiao Chen. It's split up into the base recipes, and then soup, and then just like a bunch of dishes. Chinese white cheese and Chinese red cheese. It literally is just like fermented bean curd, but it's just called a cheese, you know, that white people will get that. Preparation of secondary vegetables. Yo, just call me a secondary vegetable. That's how I fucking feel right now. I'm gonna scroll through these recipes, check them out, and see which ones that I might think about doing in the future. I obviously have to know some of the base recipes. Chinese sauce and Chinese gravy. The chicken section makes sense to me, but then there's something called chicken thread, potato duck, which I don't know why I get so excited about that. Like, I know it's just duck with potato. There's wine vapor duck. I really resonate with that. Duck threads, so might be the same thing as chicken threads with duck. And then the chop suey section is just like, it's like plain chop suey and extra chop suey. She's extra. Like, this chop suey, she's extra. I hate myself. And then beef section is actually pretty short. It's literally just beef chop suey and green pepper beef, which is good because I've been trying to decrease my consumption of beef to be a little more ethical about the burning Amazon. The only recipe for eel is eel in a net. My favorite Chinese tomato. If you got Asian glow, you know what I'm talking about. I don't. Bless up. Pigeon, and then Waishan pigeon. There's fried pigeon, like straight up, like just grab it out of the air and just like dunk it into the fryer. Winkle. What's a winkle? Winkle chop suey sounds like a fucking threat. Eggs? Checkerboard eggs? Like, no fucking checkmate, dude. Gold and silver eggs? The poetic nature starts coming out, you know? Like, I feel like Showang Chen was like, we're gonna let it out because I love eggs. And then we got fish swimming in a golden pond. That's a vision. Beans? Ruby mixed with pearls. Everything is like regular bean stuff, like bean sprouts, bean cake chop suey, chicken starch, bean cake. And then there's just ruby mixed with pearls. And then immortal food. In Buddhist culture, where you're supposed to only eat vegetarian meals, so that means that you can live longer. That's immortal food. But like, this sounds metal as fuck if you don't have any sort of context for that. The three immortal foods. Food of the god of Lawhorn. Soft immortal food, and then hard immortal food. And then there's stove party. It makes sense. Like, they literally just mean hot pot or like 火锅. But stove party. And then it goes into the chemistry of foods, which I'm very fascinated about. Like in 1917, what did they think the chemistry of foods was about? So let's just start off, put down a couple of recipes, the most notable ones that I read. What else is in here? I'm fascinated by Showang Chen. This intro, in ancient times, stoves were very different from now. Hence, cooking was crude and less elaborate. The food was broiled over coals or buried in hot ashes. The portable stoves of Pompeii, which were dug up during the uncovering of the buried city, show how these stoves were made. The Chinese method of cooking was invented by Emperor of Pao-He-Se in the year 3000 BC. Confucius, the great philosopher, taught how to eat scientifically. The proportion of meat should not be more than that of the vegetable. There ought to be a little ginger in one's food. Confucius would not eat anything which was not chopped up properly. Today, unconsciously, the Chinese people are obeying the same law. Like, fact check to like, how many fact checkers were there in like 1917? In ancient days, the Chinese used knives and forks. Later, they found that sometimes these impair the delicious flavor of food, hence their use of chopsticks and spoons. Like, is that legit? Like, is that for real? Because I find that hilarious. All of the new Chinese immigrants who are coming over, they're like, damn, these white people don't know how to eat. What the fuck? The story is told of a young Chinese couple newly married. The bridegroom was boasting to a friend of his bride's ability in cooking. The friend was invited to visit the groom's home. The friend had a keen sense of humor, and so he asked the groom if his bride would cook anything he brought. The groom, feeling confident of his wife's ability, told his friend that he might bring anything he wished and the bride would cook it. The friend came, bringing with him a stalk of sugarcane and a pound of pork. He gave it to the bride. Now, the friend, of course, thought it would be impossible for the bride to do anything with these things, but he had not taken into consideration her cleverness. The bride took the cane and, with a scraper, removed the outside rind. Then she put the pound of pork, cut it into pieces, and the remaining cane through a grinder. She added the white of an egg and, using a little cornstarch, mixed all well together. Then she made balls. She fried these balls in oil and proudly set them before their guest, who was astonished at their delicious flavor and tastiness. This story simply shows the magic of Chinese cooking. It shows how fucking badass the bride was. And then there are general laws of Chinese cooking. Like, what is this, Full Metal Alchemist? 3 parts. 1, meat, secondary vegetables, and the garnish, consisting of Chinese ham, chicken, or roast pork cut up into small dice or into small bars about 1 inch long. Like, that's a great definition of a garnish. Like, when you think of a garnish, like, you're thinking of, like, a sprig of, like, rosemary. They're like, yeah, and our garnish is just, like, a handful of fucking lardons. Yeah, and then, goes into marketing. And it ends with a model example of how you can order something. And it's like, dear sir, enclosed, I send a check for $1. You were a baller back then. Please send to me by express, prepaid, or by mail to the address given below. the following articles, and then it lists some of the ingredients, and then the ending, which I love. Please return by mail the excess of my remittance and oblige. Like, that's the greatest way of being like, and give me back my fucking change. Let's go to page 40. Yeah, oh, this is the chicken thread, and then like, it has the Chinese characters, but I think this is the Cantonese pronunciation, but it just says Gai Su, and we love our LGBT representation. Okay, so it sounds like chicken thread literally means chicken cut into threads. Like, dude. Okay. Oh, okay, as I was scrolling, I noticed there's this, like, Chinese roasting stove, and it's just, like, a cute little illustration. Wine vapor duck. All right. 2 ducks, 2 cups of any wine. Love that. 1 teaspoonful spicery salt, and 2 tablespoonfuls of Chinese ham. Only 2 tablespoons of Chinese ham? Like, then I realized that this whole dish is meat. So, I guess that's a garnish that they were talking about. I wanna see what makes this wine vapor duck a wine vapor duck. And then steam in a double boiler. Damn. Look at the plain chop suey. 2 pounds pork, 2 pounds of bean sprouts, and 2 cups onion threads. So what makes it an extra chop suey? Mushrooms and bamboo shoots. Bamboo shoots and mushrooms, baby. Growth energy. Big growth energy. That's where you get it. Eel in a net. Lard, leaf lard. Enough to wrap the eel. Oh, you gotta wrap each fried piece of eel with the lard. This lard is the fat of a pig and looks like net. Nothing but net with my eels. Oh, so it's like, okay, bear with me here. It's like pigs in a blanket, but instead of the pastry, it's straight up lard. And instead of sausage, it is an eel. Oh, the Waishan pigeon. This is where they start breaking stuff down into cents worth. Like, I love how they use cents as a measurement here. 25 cents worth. A quarter. Just a quarter of dongchong chow. And there's a little blurb at the beginning. Physicians often advise sick people to eat this. Its benefits and the results of its use in rebuilding the strength of convalescent people are wonderful and indescribable. Convalescent? What does that mean? Okay, I'm literally looking. Define. Okay, it literally just means of a person recovering from an illness or operation. Convalescent. All right, SAT words, let's go. Love my double chin. Oh, the winkle. 3 winkles. What are winkles? It doesn't say what winkles are. It just assumes that I know what a winkle is. 3 winkles. 3. Okay, so we know 3 winkles feed 6 people. So a winkle's pretty big. Not a winkle queen, but 1 winkle will satisfy me. Okay, and the phone ran out of space. But where we left off, figured out what a winkle was. I always thought it was like 螺丝. That's like the Mandarin version, because my dad is like super obsessed with eating those. But like it doesn't add up. Like it's like 3 winkles. So it's not like the tiny little winkles. It's a big winkle. Ruby mixed with pearls. All right, what's the secret? Oh, okay, so the ham. Okay, the ruby part must be the ham. Pearls, shrimp, because you gotta cut the ham and the shrimp into cubes. Evocative. Ooh, the stove party. Oh, the stove party. Okay. In cool winter evenings, this party is very often found in the Chinese houses. Put a small stove in the center of the table. Okay. On top of it, place a pan of boiling primary soup. Cut into thin pieces 6 pounds of any food at all. Ooh. Yeah, it's hot pot. It's hot pot, baby. All right. Well, if you want to see more of this content, like it. If you don't like it, feel free to thumbs down. If you want to subscribe, go ahead. Appreciate it. All right. See ya.